Alright, boys and girls, it's Grimmy here again. I'm working on a rewrite of LootNScoot. Um, yeah, trying to make it a little more in line with some advanced looting from live. I gave you a little button. You still have your global rules, your normal rules. This is an items lookup table that accesses a items database for the specific server you're on. On an EMU server that doesn't have customized items, I have a version that's basically PEQ's item database dump that will work. And then any items that you loot, if the item ID and the data don't match, it's just going to update it with the new data for the item that you looted. Right now I'm on Lazarus, where I'm starting with a blank database, so there's not really too many items in here at the moment. Just under 200. But I've also been building out rules as I loot things. So you get a nice items table. You can peruse any of these things. You can drag and drop an item onto here and add a rule for it, which will pop up this nifty little window and tell it what table you want the rule, what rule you want to set, who can move it, etc. Or if you want, you can edit a rule and delete it. Like in this case, I have a global rule for bone chips for everybody to keep them. I want to change that to be Necro and Shadow Knight. And everybody else can just sell them or whatever the default rule is in normal. Uh, they are usable by all classes, so it's going to show that. And this is also usable by all classes. I added a can use flag, so if you set something as can use and the class can use it for like no drop items and stuff, they'll try to loot it. If they can't, they'll leave it there for somebody that can, instead of having your wizard loot a no drop item that your player could have used. If you don't have an item in the list and you want to look it up, you can drag and drop it in and do lookup item, and it'll look it up from the main table. So if I drag and hover this, it's going to fill that in, but I already have it. So I could look it up, but it's not going to show me anything. If I had a whole bunch of other items and I was looking for a specific one that wasn't showing in the table, then I could find it. But this table by default is only items that you have rules for already, or anything new that you've looted, which by default will create a rule for. There's also this new items tab, and as well in the settings, there's a new item pop-out window that you can toggle open. There's an option for it to always pop out when there's a new item, or you can toggle it with a slash command. They basically mirror each other, so you can see a new item, what the rule currently is that it evaluated to. If you agree with it, you can click OK. If you want to change it, you can change it, and log your own. Now, obviously, I probably didn't want to change that one to what I changed it to, but that's okay. I can always go back in here, find the item. What was the name of it? What was the last item I added? Lane encased method lane. Lane encased method lane. I said to destroy it, but it's worth like 22 flat. So we're going to keep this and sell it to everybody. And we'll reset that rule. You can search these tables by item name or by rule. So you can search for can use or class, ignore, etc. If you're in the item lookup table, you can search this table by item name and I believe class. So there's a whole lot of columns here that you can turn on. So if I wanted to see the class list, we'll scroll down here. There's a class list. There's also a race list down in this section. So you can turn on or off different rows that you want to see, and mouse over tooltips will show you what's going on for some stuff. So you can search for that, but if you want to do an item lookup, the lookup only happens by name, not by filter. So if you were to search for like Necro, you're going to find all the necklaces, and anything with neck in the name or Necro in the name, depending on how far out you type the word. just note that it's by name for item lookups. And if you're just filtering out this current table, you can search by class. Let's see, settings. So this now uses actors to pass everything between each other. As such, you get a nice little list of all the people that are running this. And you can go and view their settings and see what's different from the current character, as well as adjust somebody else's settings. So if I want to go to Hardy Frog, be like, no, turn that off. Maybe turn that on and set send. He's going to now have that updated set. So if I switch over, and I open this up and I go to settings, everything's updated. If I set that back off there and I set send, I come back over here and it's already off. I also added a nice feature so you can pick a character whose settings you want. Now, ideally, I always pick the one up here as well so I can see and verify. So in this case, if I want to copy Molly Polly, I can send the settings to Hardy Frog and clone the settings. Now, if I switch over to Hardy Frog, oops, wrong character, Hardy Frog, I now have the same settings as Molly Polly. They're the same. So that's also kind of nice. There's a console. The console is the same one from Looted, so you can now toggle that there. You can toggle the report on and off to see the nice little table of what you have looted. Again, that's just little toggles. But yeah, so far so good. And as you loot new items, you'll add them to the items table as well as your rules table. And you can, like I said, go look up any rule, change it, and it's going to pass all the stuff over to your other characters. Everything's still stored in a SQL database by item name, or by item ID, I mean, which allows us a little more control over multiple items that have the same name but different values. And that changes color when you have new items. So if you don't want the pop-up up, you don't have to. Again, it's done through actors, so the new items were cleared by a different character. They're cleared on this character as well, and all the rules update across the board. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There's a couple new settings. So there's a check corpse once. This way you don't keep trying to check the corpse every couple of cycles. You've looted it once and everything was left marked as ignored. You're just going to leave those items and not check it again. Now, when you flag your confirm settings on a new item, it will unlock that corpse once, just to make sure if there was something you changed to be looted, that you guys are going to go and grab it. I added a can wear flag. So again, if it's something you can wear, and you have loot no drop new enabled, it's going to try to loot it only if you can use it, as well as a keep spells flag. So by default, it's just going to evaluate spells same as everything else. So minimum sell price, obviously spells don't stack, so stack prices are relevant. But if you jack your sell price up and you find spells that you wanted and they're cheaper, keep spells is going to just say, oh, this is a spell, I'm going to keep it regardless. Pretty nice to have. I don't remember anything else that I've added into this table. Aside from I already mentioned this guy. I do keep auto tag on personally. The always eval is only if I'm messing around with settings and I want to change them, but that might go away because I'm also thinking of adding a third layer of overrides. So by default, we're going to check the global rules. If there isn't a global rule for the item, which is top level override, we're going to check the normal rules and follow those rules. If there isn't a rule in normal, then we're going to evaluate the item and set a rule, unless you have always evaluate. But I would like to add another layer above that, similar to buy items, that's up per character set. So if you want to say one character maybe loot this bloodstone ring or this bat skull earring, but you don't want any other characters to loot it. Instead of setting it by class, you can make a specific rule for that character. So that's another future thing that I'm going to add in there. And then tables are paged, so you can adjust how far out you want to see. Yeah. Ciao.